YouTube channel, $900 luxury yacht. Today's episode, narrow channel into Convey Point. I'm a long way from shore, but I'm slowing way down because I'm about to enter into a very narrow dredged channel between these two pilings with channel markers on them. And although the channel's very narrow, I have to leave room for two-way traffic within the channel. Everybody does a pretty good job of staying as far to their right as they dare to within the channel, and leaving as much room between the boats as possible. The water drops off in the channel and is very shallow right at the channel markers and beyond them. Hi there. Although there is room for two-way traffic within the channel, you just have to pay attention to what you're doing. See, I'm right alongside the channel marker, and the shallow water starts just beyond it. This boat and I are about as far apart as you can safely be within the channel. I don't know how shallow it is off to my right, but I am pretty sure that the parts where the rocks are sticking up above the water are too shallow to be driving the boat in right now. And now I'm slowing down literally to idle speed. Hi there. You can see how the water is shallow even right at the channel marker. These two guys on kayaks are in a perfect spot for doing what they're doing. The submerged part of the jetty is a great place to be paddling around in a kayak, where you can see all the fish and the little creatures that live on the rocks just below the water's surface. The submerged part of the jetty also has several of these rectangular platforms on it, and I've always thought that these would be an interesting place to take a kayak and a tent and just set up a tent and camp there some night, because it's just the right size for one campsite out in the middle of the water. Coming up on the right now is the end of the above water part of the jetty, and to the left is Towboat US. He's the one that will come out and get me if I have a problem or can't get an engine started or something. And the jetty off to the right has a walking trail where people like to go out and fish or bring a picnic lunch or just go out and look at all the creatures living on the rocks in the shallow water. The small harbor to the right now is Biscayne National Park headquarters, and it's where you catch the tour boat to come out to Boca Chica, and where they have the snorkeling boat and the stand-up paddleboard boat. I'm way to the right, actually scraping some of these branches, because coming up on the left you can see the end of another jetty, and that jetty encloses the very narrow channel. And because it's so narrow, it's difficult to pass different boats, and some people decide that to be safest they should drive up the center of the channel. And That makes it very difficult for boats trying to pass them going the other way. Have a nice day, dude. Coming up on the left now is the gas dock. And this is where I want to go. I need to get gas and I need to put some water in the boat's water tank. Unfortunately, there's another boat at the gas dock at the moment, and I don't think there's enough room behind him to safely park my boat between him and the red towboat. So I'm looking for some place to park my boat just temporarily for a few minutes, and I'm pointing up at the other end of the seawall, hoping that Mimi might see me and she could come over and help me with dock lines. Apparently she hasn't seen though. But that's okay, I can park the boat myself. I'm going to park just the other side of that rectangular frame standing on the seawall. That's actually a crane that can pick things up off of a truck and set them on a boat, or lift things off of a boat and set it on a truck. And I'm going to try to make a U-turn here and end my turn just parallel to the seawall, just this side of the crane. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to make sure that I don't run into the red towboat or the small sport fisherman that he is assisting. Because there's a guy on the front of each of those boats who would complain if I drove into their boat. The seawall, on the other hand, has nobody to complain if I drive into it. So I'm kind of in a hurry here. I want to get this rope onto the dock. And now you will see that I am actually part flying squirrel. And now that the flying squirrel is on the dock, I can use the rope to pull the boat back to the dock and then tie it up. If you're going to use this maneuver, I recommend that you be very sure that the rope is securely on the dock before you jump off of the boat. Because if the rope falls off of the dock before you get to it and get a hold of it, the boat may float away with you standing on the dock. One towboat is towing away the sport fisherman now. And this next part should be fair warning to viewers of the channel. This channel was never meant to be a how-to-do-it channel, especially with regards to driving the boat or docking or even tying a rope to a cleat. Quite the opposite. This is a channel about somebody that got a boat and is just kind of winging it from there. Now that other boat has left the gas dock, so I need to get the engine started. And now that it seems as though this engine is probably going to keep running, I can try and start the noisy one. I have to get that beeping thing fixed on the other engine as well. That tells me that the oil pressure is low, and it's always low before the engine is started, so it beeps. That symbol on the sign of a boat with an arrow leading out of it indicates that this spot is the wastewater pump out station. All boats with a toilet need to have a wastewater holding tank. And it's illegal to pump out that tank in the bay or harbor. You have to use that yellow hose on the dock just ahead of me. And that's a suction hose, and it vacuums all the wastewater out of your wastewater holding tank and sends it to the city sewer. That way nobody is dumping their poop in the bay or harbors or... And so now I'm ready to set off on my epic voyage 100 yards up the dock to the gas pumps. And I look both ways before pulling out into the main channel to check for traffic that may be coming. As soon as I pull around this tour boat, I can see up ahead that someone else has pulled into the gas dock during the time it took me to get the engine started and untie the boat. Well, I guess that's no big deal. It's a nice day and I don't have any place to be in a hurry, so... I'm driving way over to the left in order to make room so that I can make another U-turn here without running into that tour boat. There's no traffic coming, so it's okay for me to cut all the way across the channel and make my U-turn right here. And I'm just going to drive around at idle speed until that guy fills up and pulls away from the gas dock. And since you've seen me drive the boat at idle speed enough for one video, this is just cut forward in time to the point where the gas dock is open for me. I'm going to parallel park now, so I'm driving very close to the Reef Rover, that tour boat. And at the moment, I'm heading straight towards the red towboat. And what I'm going to try to do is just skim alongside the towboat and then make sort of an S-turn to come in parallel to the dock. So one last little maneuver to the left to avoid hitting the towboat. And now that I'm past where the towboat's bow is curving in, I'm heading over, angling towards the dock. And now I'll try to straighten out parallel to the dock and then give just a little bit of reverse to slow the forward speed of the boat. And just use the momentum of the last 1 mile an hour or so to bring the boat up to the dock. Now that Mimi has the bow line, I'm in kind of a hurry to get the stern line onto the dock because, again, the wind is pushing the boat away from the dock, and the flying squirrel must fly once again. So now I can get the boat pulled back to the dock and then tied up. And finally I shut the engines off. I leave them running until the boat is tied up in case I need to use them to drive back to the dock or something. And now I need gas, so this guy magically appears next to the gas pump and hands me the nozzle.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. I need gas.
Alright.
And now it's time for the thing about the thing. I need to find a better place for the thing. I don't want to lose the thing, so I keep the thing attached to my keys, but I don't think that's the best spot for the thing, because the thing is used to open the gas cap and the cap for the water, and to do that I have to lean out over the back of the boat and over the water, and I'm always afraid that I'm going to drop my keys in the water when I do that. And there's a float on my keys, but there's a lot of keys on there, so I'm not entirely sure that it will float. And while I'm here, I fill up my sun shower. This plastic bag holds 5 gallons of water. It has a hose and a little shower nozzle on it. And it's black on one side, and you leave it in the sun, and in a few minutes, the water warms up and you can have a warm shower instead of a cold shower.
Wow. You're going to use your GoPro?
Yeah. It sees everything I see from my perspective. So when I wave, it sees my hand. You would think that they had never seen somebody eating a GoPro camera before. Now I have to get water, and this is the water hose, and this is the problem with dock hoses. There's always somebody that lets the end of the hose fall off of the dock. I was just in the hospital a week ago from swimming in Biscayne Bay, and the water there was cleaner than the water in the harbor here. So I'm not especially thrilled with filling my boat's water tank up from this hose that's been sitting in the harbor. On second thought, it is the only water available. Now, I didn't turn on the hose right away, so I wouldn't be splashing water on these people and their boat and the sidewalk as I go past. And that noise getting louder. It's the Marines. Those guys sure are loud. So the water ran for a minute while I walked back to the boat and hopefully flushed out any contamination in the hose. My boat holds 60 gallons of fresh water, and it's mostly used for washing dishes and washing salt off of things. For now, I have bottled water for drinking. Pull the boat close to the dock and then be fast with the other one. Okay. I had Mimi pull the boat over to the dock and warned her to be quick with the stern line because the wind keeps blowing the boat away from the dock, and I didn't want the bow being blown out into the middle of the channel while the stern line was still tied to the dock. And Mimi gives a helpful push away from the dock, and I wait until Mimi is aboard the boat before setting off.
She works next door to me, and she been kind of down, and she said something about the boat. I said, I'm going down the boat. She says, oh, I'd love to go. And I said, well, then come with me. And she was all excited. She's like, oh, okay, what? And I said,
check out these other videos on my channel. And if you haven't already subscribed, consider subscribing to the channel and ring the little notification bell to be notified whenever a new video comes online. And this is just it for another episode of $900 Luxury Yacht.